the cave was discovered around 1747. We've also had some studies done by geologists. They say that the top of the cave is about 160,000 years old. And the bottom, 500 to 600,000 years old. And it's called the animal flower cave as well because some living flowers are naturally grows in the pools. So as we peruse across, we're going to be looking at some of those lovely flowers. All right? So
Barbadians are being invited to nominate persons who have made an outstanding contribution to community life or who have made an improvement to the economic or social standing of a parish. 12 residents of St. Lucie were rewarded at the Darrell Jordan Secondary School, Trent, St. Lucie, including Vasco Greaves of Checker Hall. He was recognized for his contribution to gospel music as a singer and songwriter and for penning the St. Lucie anthem.
Oh, this is such an honor. Normally I do these things, but not expecting, any rewards or, just do them for the love of them and, to help the country along and to help the parish along. And that is why exactly you might want to ask when I wrote it. I just found it for 2004. And 6th July, Andy just told me, and he was the parish ambassador at that time. And I was always writing for anything that we had. They were calling me, Vasco, can you do me a jingle or whatever? And I decided, it would be a nice thing to have an anthem where if you can get everybody even from school, if they're singing this particular anthem, to make St. Lucie proud.
Robin Knight relocated to the UK 15 years ago, but he's originally from Rock Hall. He was recognized for his community work and his contribution to the entertainment industry.
I heard of the Gatherin and I decided to come here for 6 months. And whilst I was here, I was made I need to do the same thing in Reading. So when I leave here and go back to Reading, I'm supposed to put on the Gatherin for the south of the UK. So it's a pleasure of mine to be here to see how it's being done in St. Lucie so I can take back some of the ideas back to the UK to make Barbados proud.
21 minutes long, 14 minutes. That's the length and the width of the area.
One of the main attractions in St. Lucie is the Animal Flower Cave. Owner Manuel Ward was recently recognized for outstanding service, providing jobs to members of the community and supporting small farmers. He started by giving us a little history about the cave.
Well, my grandfather had a bar there in the 20s, and it's been now my third generation. I'm the third generation with it. We now have a restaurant and bar, which, not wood, is doing really well. I know you mentioned earlier that you've had problems getting to go down in the cave because the tide was very high. That happens mainly during the months of December till March. Depending on the winter storms in the North Atlantic, we get big waves coming down.
It's called the Animal Flower Cave, but it's not like you're going to go down there and see flowers all over the place, because some people come thinking they can be bougainvillea and hibiscus. And we got our name from a Welshman that was the pastor at St. Lucie's Parish Church, who wrote a book about Barbados in 1700, and it was published in 1755. And he was the one that went down in the cave and saw the little animal flowers that live in the pools. And he said in the book, you can look it up online, it's the natural history of Barbados. And they look like little flowers, and when you go to touch them, they move. So he said, it looked like a flower, but I can tell it's an animal, so I'm going to call it the Animal Flower. And that's how we got our name. When we created the restaurant, it's a very local style food. So I purchased my chickens from locally farmers, my eggs from local farmers, my lettuce and produce from local farmers whenever I can. Employ people that live in the community. I do have one or two that are out from outside of St. Lucie, but I try to keep everything within the St. Lucie area.
He hopes that the Pride of Barbados Award will encourage persons, particularly young people, to make a meaningful contribution to nation building.
Because I believe that I am the first point where the tourism dollar arrives. And if I can then transfer that into the guy down the road and the lady up there that have the eggs, and then that means that money can go straight into the community and it benefits the whole community.
Now, we're going to slowly peruse down this side, onto the left, go by the swimming area. We can have a nice swim if you care to.
I've seen a little bit more movement with Barbadians that live away and abroad that are coming back to visit. So they'll come up to the flower cave because they might have seen it when they were children. And they've also heard about how great the restaurant is, so they want to come and check it out. My fish cake's got enough fish in them.
Juliet Griffith is a small businesswoman. She is known in the St. Lucie community for her kindness and giving spirit.
The guys who don't have no person to cook for them, maybe no way to sleep, they can pass by me anytime and sure they have something. They come off the road and come to me. Any old persons that need help anywhere, cleaning, washing, getting the groceries or anything, I does that also. Well, truly, this isn't anything that now begun. This has begun from the time I was like a very small girl going to, but I don't know why. I work in community development for a while. And wherever parish I go to, I always meet people, like elderly people, and somehow they cling to me and always want me to do things for them. They will come and talk to me like for words of encouragement. They always hang around me.
She stated though there aren't many who help others in this way, she has always enjoyed helping people.
I live away off the road and I see people like at a distance. If you come off the road, I know you can come into me. And I wouldn't like say to no person, this is not the road, because I always say at some time I'll be there myself and would be glad to see some person. So because of I believe, because of my attitude towards people, I mean in some mornings, like 6 o'clock, I know come out and a particular young man, he don't live nowhere, he was a girl, Joe, I want breakfast. And sometimes it's not because not a fee, nor because they want things though. But still sometimes if you want like coconut spit or anything, you can ask that same guy or guys to help you out. Or if you want something from down the road and I'm not down the road, I can call the shop and say, so-and-so person there, give them so-and-so to bring for me. That's a relationship that I have.
Up next, we planting more than 1 million, the National Tree Planting Project.
Trees are critical to our survival. Not only do they provide shade, food, and furniture, but they serve as barriers to pollution and erosion, and ultimately climate change. The government of Barbados, as part of the Gatherin Vision 2020 project, has embarked on the planting of 1 million trees in the fight against climate change. Speaking at the official project launch on January 4th at Hope Plantation, St. Lucie, was coordinator Dr. Chelston Brathwaithe.
A recent document indicates that the prevailing issues of the effect of climate change and the rise in the chronic non-communicable diseases are all significant issues that confront our country. In this national project, which has emanated from the Prime Minister's vision, it is intended to accomplish multiple goals, including mitigating the negative effects of climate change by reducing our carbon footprint, providing trees for shade, trees for beautification, trees for recreation, trees for business and entrepreneurship, trees for conservation of our natural resources, and trees for food. The planting of trees will not only contribute to promoting environmental sustainability, but will also engender a culture of respect for the environment, enhance the landscape and beauty of our country, reduce erosion and soil degradation, enhance water retention, thus reducing runoff and flooding. Why are we planting trees? The international environment in which we live and the United Nations Environmental Programme have clearly demonstrated that the planting of trees is one of the cheapest ways of arresting the challenge of climate change, because trees absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, reducing greenhouse gases and protecting our environment.
Chairman of the Planning Committee for the More Than 1 Million Trees project is project manager of the National Botanical Gardens, Nigel Jones.
We've started the program here on this site here at Hope, where we're looking to plant 5,000 trees. the trees that we're planting, we know that St. Lucie, like St. Philip and other areas that are dry rainfall areas, we are planting species that are compatible with landscape. Compatible in the sense that they're drought tolerant. Compatible in the sense that they can withstand the soil pH and all the other climatic factors. So this program is just one of the many programs that we have started in the initiative to get the 1 million trees planted around Barbados.
You said we're here in St. Lucie and you're aiming to plant 5,000 trees. How are you going to keep these trees alive?
Well, 5,000 trees on one site, actually they're more than 5,000. We're using mobile watering tanks. We have about 8 so far, and we are looking to get a few more. But and they have some have capacities up to well over 1,000 gallons of water per tank, and we have a reinforcement. As you can see, backstage, we have a truck actually to refill, to replenish the tanks as they finish. We also have the Barbados Water Authority, the first, if you can see them, as a backup. But we are not going to use, we don't want to use potable water. We're going to be using basically water from the different wells and so on, and other sources to make sure that we have a full stock of water and in terms of capacity to ensure that the trees catch themselves. How do we know the trees catch themselves? As soon as you put on the first leaves, we know that it means that the roots were established.
Minister of the Environment and National Beautification, Trevor Prescott, encouraged Barbadians to get involved.
I know Dr. Brathwaithe indicated we are going for 1 million. And I know we also included in the title 1 million and more, giving us the flexibility to probably get to 1,500,000. I am going to shoot for 2 million by the end of 2020. You know, from here on to the end of the year, apart from what is organized at the central level of the Ministry of the Environment, we are asking individuals to plant a tree. Plant a tree. If you can plant it every hour, plant it every hour. If you can plant it every week, plant it every week, plant it every day, but plant a tree.
The launch of the more than 1 million national tree planting project is key in the island's fight against climate change. It is a step to safeguard our very future.